have to go to a plane. I got a plane set, and I've got a funeral to go on tomorrow that I've got to go to. Actually, it's family, but they died 10 years ago, and there was a feud in the family. Hey, we're supposed to be talking about you.
I know.
But this is personal to me because they're finally burying the ashes, and I've got to be there for my wife. And so I'm going to get on that plane and go, or it'll leave me behind. But
no stories.
No stories. No, if we told you the shit we know, we would all we'd have to kill him, wouldn't we, Van? But this is the king of the storytellers. But I want to say congratulations. You're being inducted. You're world famous. What do we, hey boss, what do we call all this stuff? What are we doing? I know I'm trying, the manufacturers, I got it. Motorsport Parts Council. Now don't forget council, you're running this show. Ah, damn. Hey, there's my boss, Boltlander, over there, and he said, you better be funny or I'll fire you. And, because I drive for him, for Peak, and I got to do my job. So, this is really about you. Okay?
Thank you. He told me he loved me today. I knew something was up. Since 1972, he never told me he loved me.
You know, let me tell you, 48 years ago, 1974, I was a kid. I went to Australia, and that's where I met Vic. I was down under driving my first funny car, Chevrolet Vega, and he knew my family, the Beaver brothers in Condit, and that's where I got to know Vic, and we become very, very good friends. And he's really, I got to get him talking here. You ought to wait till you hear the shit comes out of this guy. Vic, get out there and take a bow and tell him who you are.
John Force. Thank you, John. That's unbelievable. I'm blown away already. I'll tell you a quick John Force story before I get into the thick of things. What was it, 74, 73, something? And we're doing it, I think we're in Sydney at the time. And the media wanted some tape for the news. And Gary Densham was kind of leading the charge. And so we go out to the track, and Densham says, look, John, we just need like a short burnout, some smoke, put it on tonight's news, it'll be great. It was on the Friday. And so Gary goes out, does his nice burnout and backs up, and everything works out good. And then John gets there. It is impossible to do, in those years, a short burnout for John. It was a quarter-mile burnout or it didn't happen. And John gets on the gas, and I'm thinking, okay, better stop now, better stop now, better stop now. Next thing, boom, the complete rear end gets blown out of the funny car. Blew it to bits, 9-inch Ford. John came with no parts, much less a rear end. We worked all night, got a rear end out of the wrecking yard, cut it up, welded it up, put it all back together, and went and ran on Saturday. That was my first exposure to John Force, and he had his uncle Gene Beaver, who was just a great guy. If you never read up on him, you might want to. He's a terrific guy. And he beat the shit out of John, I can tell you. He wasn't happy about it. But it was a good time. Thanks for coming, John. I really appreciate that, mate.
Wait a minute. Can I get in it? Can I interrupt just for it's your night? Can I interrupt? And I'm really proud of you. I'm going to cry. This means a lot to me. Because I worked with you over the years with other companies like Well Wheel, and all the stuff that we did, you always took care of us, and you took care of our teams, and I want to thank you for that. But let me tell you, parties down there in Australia, it was different. You know, I never drank a beer. 24 years old, never drank a beer, and I'm a milk drinker, and Coca-Cola, I got there, and you get an ice box, they call it, that they put ice in, and then you put so it's like you can drink beer hot, you can't drink milk hot. And I learned how to drink beer. And buddy, I've been drinking ever since. So along the way, we're all going to hit the town. And I'm a young kid. I ain't been around that much, you know. And we go in, they take us to this big, I forget what it was called, but it was the all-male review. Okay, whatever that means. And I'm in there, I'm a kid, the beer's free, the food's free. I ain't gonna get dirty. I'm gonna say nothing wrong. I know all about woke. I ain't going there, don't worry. So, in the middle of it, he's telling me, have some fun, do some things. And finally, I got over there and these beautiful women, great big tall women, and they're hitting on me, and I'm a young kid, like I must be a handsome son of a gun. They ain't seen me in the shower, so that ain't gonna hurt their feelings. Hey, you like this stuff, right? Okay, so in the middle of it, can I do this, or am I in? They won't throw us out of PRI, will they? So in the middle of this, he's saying, somebody better keep an eye on for us, because this thing's going to get ugly. And then Gary Dincham, the guy that got me down there and got me out, him and Vic got me out of Australia, crew chief, choked me out. I said, we're all going to have to swim home, because we blown up everything we owned before the first race, doing burnouts and stuff. And the guy come back and said, there's something wrong here. What? What's wrong? I don't know, but he says, this situation here's got a kickstand. Okay, the guys get it, right? And I said, no, that's the best kisser I ever seen. And I'm telling you what, and Vic, you buried me. In Australia, I came home, I've never been the same. So
That's true.
anyway, but I love him. I love the places we've been, what we've done. He's always there to help me. He'll wrench on a race car. He can build race. The guy does everything. And now I'm honored to be standing here with you. Now, I am going to get off the stage, but I want to tell you, but I got to tell you one other thing that you forgot. I borrowed $100 from him in 1974. And I said, no, I'm going to give it back to you tomorrow as soon as I get our paycheck on Friday when we race. And he said, yeah, with what motors? They had to ship them from the States to get me business. And he loaned me $100. And I said, I ain't going to pay no interest on that. I didn't know how to even calculate interest. So I said, okay, no interest, but this has been 40-something years. But I am a man of my word. There's your 100. I'm just a little bit. I've seen him 100 times and he's never mentioned it. But there's I am a man of my word.
You are.
God bless
No
you.
question.
I love you, kid.
MPMC, I apologise. Sure to stop the nerves. It took the nerves away anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you follow that one up?
Well, you know what? It's been a long road from an 8th-mile dirt drag strip in a town called Whyalla in South Australia, where I first attended my first drag race at 16 years of age. I'm 70 next year. That's a long road, right? And I could never have imagined that this could be even remotely possible. I love racing, I love drag racing, I love sprint cars. I still today have involvement with 410 sprint cars, and there's nothing like those two sports. They come together really well. I'm humbled. I am humbled beyond belief that people would think enough of me. I've made my mistakes, believe me. Along that road, I've turned left when I should have turned right 2 or 3 times. But something about this industry is that when you make a mistake, or you turn left when you should have turned right, there are people in this industry, and there's people in this room tonight that will pick you up. And I'll put you back on the ride, and they will help you get back to where you need to be, to refocus. I'm going to start with the thank yous, with my beautiful wife, Arlene. Arlene is a 30-year veteran of SEMA. She worked at SEMA. Many of you know her or will recall her. She's been gone from SEMA 3 years now, 3 or 4 years. But she's the most special person. I fell in love with her the day I saw her, and nothing has changed. Unfortunately, she can't be here tonight, but she's here in spirit. She called me a little while ago. I love her to death. There's been nothing in my life that has impacted me like my wife. And Arlene, I love you. How did I get into this industry? It started in a gas station on a Friday night in the city of Whyalla, where I had what's a 1958 Holden, which had, for those Australians that are here, there's a few, had triple SUs. Rob Tucker, you can relate to that. But I couldn't afford a manifold, so I became a manufacturer. With copper pipe, I made an inlet manifold, and that little engine hauled ass. But I got off the track. I didn't have a father that had any interest in me, and I did get off the track. We were in a gas station on a Friday night. We discovered that if you put brake fluid under the tyres, you can do John Force burnouts in the gas station. A policeman came along by the name of Joe Kennedy, Officer 954. I remember like it was yesterday. And he told me to stand over by my car, and he dismissed everybody else, the other 6 or 7 idiots that were there with me, trying to be John Force. And after it was all done and he dismissed them all, he comes back to me and he says, you know, this car goes really fast. And we, officers around town, we get it, we see it. But you've got to stop doing this shit. And so here's the deal, and he wrote all the things that were wrong with my car. Too loud, too noisy, all the stuff. And he put it in his top pocket. He said, now, I have a drag racing car. It was a FJ Holden. Again, Rob, you can get the picture. And he said, I need some help. So next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, you need to be in my driveway. Here's the address. And you can come and help me on my race car. And then, if you don't show up for the next 3 months, every week, I'm going to take that ticket and I'm going to put it in. Now, I am not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, believe me. But I was smart enough to figure out that I better be there at 7 o'clock. And I did. And that went for about a year, and I actually loved it, and I stopped racing on the streets and started to get into drag racing on a dirt drag strip. And unfortunately, Joe got injured, lost the use of his legs. E-modified stock, just to make sure. My buddy Rob Tucker, he's just bumped into the pro stock field in the US. He's an Australian guy, does his own engine program, finally made it into the field for pro stock. Well done, Tuck. Good stuff. And so he says, well, you can drive the car. And that was where my drag racing started in 1969, and it just went on down the road from there. So a dream I could never have thought would come true. Now there's some people I want to mention. Can you believe I got $100 from Force? He's never paid a bill in his life. I don't know if you know or not, John's got a brother, Louis. We call him Diesel Louis, lives down in Florida. If you ever get a chance to go down to the Gator Nationals and meet Louis Force, he is something else. He's a great guy to know. He's got all the Force spirit, but in a slightly different angle. He had a wheel stander for a long time. And I'm trying to do this one-handed. This is not good. My good buddy Mike Stewart. None of you know, some of you don't know these people. Mike's one of the best drag race engine builders in Australia, who kind of took me under his wing. Like I said, no influence for a father. Mike had 2 kids and he had me. And unfortunately, one of his sons got killed in a pro mod a couple of years ago down in Australia. But thinking of Mike tonight, there's no better guy on the planet than Mike Stewart. Tony Thornton, who was the CEO of the Australian National Drag Racing Association, did a lot for me. The legendary Carl Olsen. Carl Olsen from Coolman Olsen, top fuel dragster, front end, won the last race at Lions. Had a huge influence on my career and always kept me straight. My old buddy Dennis Holding, there might be some guys here from thank you Chris, from the Mr. Gasket group. It's all split up now, but Dennis was a great mentor and helped me get to introduce me to Chuck Blum, which eventually turned into working for SEMA. But I appreciate Dennis. I appreciate Chuck Blum. 22 years as president of SEMA. Retired now, but a wonderful guy. And then I have to refer to Rick Rowlands. Why are you laughing? Rick invented the trick of having a credit card at the bar in Las Vegas back in the days when we had what was called the hookah bar. I'm not answering questions on that. Rick would put the credit card up, and of course it would stick to his forehead, and then to any girl that walked past, he'd say, "Hi, my name's Rick, how do you like me so far?" Bad influence on me. But in fact, so those of you who know me really well know I don't mind a drink of Jack Daniels. And there's a thing with Jack Daniels called the Esquire Club. You drink a lot of Jack Daniels, you qualify to become a Squire, Jack Daniels Squire. So numerous people suggested that I become a member. Rick decided to write him a letter and tell him every criminal thing that I'd done in my life and about 100 other things that I didn't do and why I shouldn't be a member. That's the sort of friend Rick Rowlands is. But I love him, he's a great guy. Adrian Murray, we don't see much of Adrian anymore, but a great industry guy. Russell Stevens, who, I'm not sure if Russell's here tonight, but Russell's friendship's been invaluable to me. Like I said, sometimes when I've turned left, Russell's helped me get back on the Senate course. Brian Applegate, used to be the chairman of B&M, now involved in the company, buying companies, I guess is the best way to put it. A great friend, thanks to Brian. And my great mate Ronnie Funfar, was president of Hedman Headers, the Hedman Performance Group, who one of the guys that picked me up when I turned left. And a guy that I love more than most, Bob Vandergriff Sr. His son Kevin's here tonight. Bob Vandergriff Sr. means the world to me. I love him. I'll leave it at that. The people I serve with on MPMC: Rich Barsamian, Steve Bolio, Chris Thompson, Dick Hill, Kyle Fickler. Thanks, guys. I appreciate everything that we put together, and the council, the support, the guidance, We didn't always agree, didn't have to always agree. That's what councils are about. You work your way through those issues. But very happy to help those people. At the end of it all, the one thing I love about this industry, more than anything else, I was 18 when I entered it, I'm 70 next year. The friendships that you develop in this industry will take you a long way. Excuse me. And the friendships you make are what it's all about. When you do turn left, when you should turn right, the real guys will be, the real people will be there for you. They'll be your friends, they'll support you. This industry is really forgiving if you do it the right way. And there's three, I recognise Rob Tucker here tonight. He knows what I think of him. We've been friends for many years. I want to thank 3 or 4 other guys that I count as my team, my wingmen, whatever. Torch, put your hand up, buddy. The legendary Torch. Thanks, brother. These guys are my brothers. Woody, there's 2 Woodies. I'm the old fart Woody. He's Woody, formerly of the company known as Jags, but these days with Elite Motorsports, and has a huge impact on our industry. And a great supporter, great friend. Thanks, Woody. Appreciate you, man. And then it comes to we've all got a wingman. I got probably the best wingman in the business. I call him my brother. I love him. He knows that. Sometimes he disappears and I can't find him, and it worries me, so I have to call all around Charlotte trying to find where he is. Sometimes he's got the patience of none, so he does drive you crazy at times, but I love him to death. My brother, Brett Underwood. Thank you all. Thank you for the time. Again, one word, I am humbled with how this has unfolded. Humbled. Thank you so much.